Colorado is 3-7 right now and have been eliminated from bowl contention after falling to West Virginia 29-22. Matt, this is now Deion Sanders' second losing season in 3 years as the Buffs head coach. 16-19 record, one winning season. Obviously, lost 0-1 in the bowl games. There's a lot of talk right now going on online. I'm seeing posts about people saying, like, should he be fired? Should he be let go? I want to ask you your take on, number one, just the loss to West Virginia, what you thought from the freshman QB, and just kind of just how you're viewing, I guess, moving forward.
Number one, you never want to lose, so I'm not going to sit here and say it's acceptable. It's not, especially when they had a chance to win. It's another one-score loss. They've had a lot of them. The last 2 weeks before this was embarrassing. It was good to see the team play their asses off the way that they did. Now, there's still a big problem with execution. There's a big problem with play calling, although it was better. I think there's a big problem with running the football. Seaton was out. They started the Roy kid, 52. He lasted about 3 series because he was getting absolutely murdered. So that's a personnel call. I don't know why they didn't play Xavier Hill at tackle like they should have. When they put 71 from Memphis over at tackle, it calmed down and Juju found his rhythm. Look, it's 2 bad football teams that have lost close games that are trying to figure it out, and it just happened. If it would have been in Boulder, probably CU would have won, but it was in Morgantown, and West Virginia got a dub. And Rich Rodriguez did a good job. There's a lot to fix, but I'm taking silver lining in this regard. Merritt, Davis Swain, Juju, Gibson. I mean, and I'm forgetting about 6 or 7 other young guys. They're all freshmen, like high school freshmen. So
yeah.
I hope, and I'm praying, and I'm actually going to stop suggesting players and start almost demanding that they look at these guys. If your best players are all freshmen, you're recruiting wrong. The transfer portal is not the key, bro. Like, if you bring in 38 mercenaries and then people are like, oh, you're not loyal to this and you're not loyal to that. The people that aren't loyal are the 38 mercs you brought in. Those are the people that aren't loyal to Colorado or to Coach Prime. They only care about themselves.
Or D1. That's just D1 now.
Yeah, and that's just D1. So I think that there's a lot to be, if you're a real Buff fan and, you really support Coach Prime, I think there's a lot to be enthusiastic about moving forward. I thought Juju looked, come on, man, with 8 sacks and getting hit every other play and his hair ripped out, to go no interceptions, no turnovers, 2 touchdowns and 300 yards on the road. I thought it was a very good opening game for a freshman. I thought he was awesome. And now, does he have a lot to fix? Yeah. It's his first fucking start ever in Morgantown. So
now, Matt, let me rewind real quick. So
hold on. You asked. Let me spit this out and then I'll get it all out. All that said, the clock management issues are still there. They've got to figure out if they're going to have college coaches and Coach Prime's going to CEO this bitch, or if we're just going to reload with pro coaches. I was at Alabama this last weekend with my son and went down there as a recruit. It was incredible. They are to hear J.C. Latham and Booker get up there and talk. J.C. Latham is the tackle for the Titans and Booker is the first-round guard for the Cowboys. To hear them come back and talk about their program, and I know it's apples to oranges, but it's all college football. And, just even to have Tyler Booker walk up to me and go, man, I love what you do, and we got to get some work in the offseason, and what you're doing at 6, I follow you on 6-0. It's incredible, blah, 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 blah. He goes, you got a bunch of really, really good young players in there, huh? And I'm like, yeah, there's 2 of them right over there in the corner. You see the big one? The 4-star offensive lineman that Alabama's over there trying to get to commit. CU hasn't even offered him. So in order to really maximize this, they have got to look themselves in the mirror and know. And the missing piece to actually taking this over the top without Shador and Travis and Jimmy and all the guys that were literally like his family that are left. Now he's got to motivate and coach and scheme up all these guys that are just players. They're not necessarily his family members anymore. You've got to change things. You got to do things differently. You've got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not doing this right. We need to change. And Juju should have been starting since day one. They never should have played Salter at all. That's just a fact. And I think that I don't think there's any way in hell Coach Prime leaves unless he resigns. And if he does, he loses like $50 million or some crazy shit. So that's not happening. They need to restaff to a point of, bringing in college coaches that can actually develop and put in, the right kind of scheme and philosophy to help the players on the field. It's just not working with Schumer. And I'm not saying Livingston doesn't work, but it's a little rough on defense. And well, I don't know. There's going to be changes, but I don't think Coach Prime's one of them. And honestly, he shouldn't be. He had a great year last year. You don't want this. You don't want the follow-up to be like this. But at the same time, I want, instead of firing him and all this other bullshit, I want him to fix it.
No doubt.
That seems like a better course of action than just freaking out, firing everyone, and restarting because we're impatient. It's fix it. Let's see if you can actually fix the problem that has been created.
And here's my take real quick. We got to get we got Chev on next. It's week 10, right? Or 9? What game was that? 9?
3 and 7. That was week 10, right? I think.
But going into that game was 9, right? So my whole issue is, you mentioned several things: clock issues, starting the freshman week 9. This all goes back on the inexperience I've been telling everyone about with Deion Sanders. Not only his staff hires, but how he's managing the football game, how he manages, obviously, practice. If you watch if you watch Vrabel yesterday, his guys knew exactly every possibility in a game. The guy stopped damn near full speed and looked at the staff, said, should I take a knee here while he's running to score? Like, this is a coach's football team. At the end of the day, Matt and I talk shit about.
They're pros. You can't even. This is what I'm talking about. The pro coaches over there, they are not developing or coaching the kids.
That's what my point is. That's my whole point. That was all I was going to right there. Because we pay these guys now, and then we call them this, but then we still say, oh, they're babies. Well, we can't have them both ways, because we got a bunch of Hall of Famers over there coaching them, or are we? Or are we just allowing a bunch of shit to go down?
I think that just because you played doesn't mean you can coach.
Hell no, it doesn't. That's my point.
We've said this 1,000 times, and I am in no way, shape, or form trying to disrespect the Hall of Famers that are in that room. We are not talking about playing football. We're talking about recruiting and coaching football. And if you won't leave the building to go recruit, and you expect everybody to just come to you, and you won't walk in, even send your assistants to walk in to Valor High School or Vista High School or Cherry Creek to see Dave Logan, who played at CU, who's got like 12 D1 kids, or you won't at least go to the hotbeds in Colorado. If CU didn't recruit statewide, they never would have found Nate Solter. They never would have found a Matt McChesney. I went to Niwot, like a 3A school in the middle of nowhere. So they're missing out because they're not putting in the work. They think that like this is the NFL draft and guys are just going to. I'm too good to go out on the road or whatever the reasoning is. And it's not because he's sick, guys. He did this before he even got sick. He did not go out and recruit. Everything has come see me. And that resonates through his staff. Now, I will say this. The staff, although there are some unbelievable names on the staff, Warren Sapp has never coached or recruited a soul. He's never placed a kid. He doesn't know the coaches everywhere. He's just Warren Sapp. And that's cool. Marshall Falk, same thing. There's and then there's a bunch of friends around the entirety of the program that I don't think they tell Coach Prime the truth. I think they tell Coach Prime what he wants to hear. And then Coach Prime has to figure it out and go, okay, I listen to my consultants here who happen to be my buddies, and they led me down the wrong path, and I listened to them, and now it's my ass. And that's the way leadership goes. So for him to say there's going to be big time changes in the personnel department and the coaching staff and who we bring in, I really hope that they start actually building a team and stop trying to buy one with other people's turds. Because look, this is now 5 years of the transfer portal. Every single coach I've met with now, the narrative has totally changed. They want to go back and start recruiting high school kids and developing. They'd rather pay them and have
one portal,
have a kid that's loyal to them in 2 or 3 years, that really loves the university and really wants to be part of it and build, instead of just the guy who jumps school to school who can't. Dylan Edwards is in the transfer portal again.
Damn.
That's a red flag, dog. That's not you're not a good player in the portal anymore. You're a red flag. So the transfer portal is, there's two different areas. And I was talking to my guys about this week, and I'm sure Chev would agree. There's grad transfers, like my guy Drake Nugent, who went to Stanford for 3 years and was all Pac-12 and then graduated, and we set him up to go to Michigan. He was in the transfer portal for about 6 seconds. He went straight to Michigan, played his ass off, won a natty, went to the league. That's one way to transfer. And that's the way I think it should be. Grad transfers, you've earned the right to move. This team hopping and just trying to get a check, and your parents are involved, and the first fucking thing is how much money am I going to get? It is played the fuck out, and it is destroying.
I called it.
Teams. It's not just destroying the fabric of college football. It is destroying teams. Colorado has a bunch of kids on their roster that are freshmen and sophomores that are way more invested and way better and have way more heart than the 38, with the exception of maybe 2 guys, with the 36 Mercs that they brought in, that are literally just putting on a jersey until they take it off. They'll never think about it again. They'll never come back to see you again. It'll always just be that was a bad decision I made. They're all looking for jobs come Christmas break. So you got to be really, really careful who you throw money and all that shit at. And then, bringing in Brett, and I'm going to say this lastly, and then I'll get off. If you're enamored with SEC kids in the transfer portal, why are you not enamored with the kids in your own state that are being recruited by big-time SEC schools and offered? That doesn't make any sense to me. You can't tell me that you want the 3-year turd that never played at Alabama and everybody wants to get rid of him, and you give him $800,000 or whatever they gave Otis. But then the 4-star number 1 player in your own state that's got Alabama and A&M and Ole Miss and Oklahoma and all these other SEC schools and Ohio State and Michigan, and you haven't even offered him yet. That doesn't make any sense. So if Roper goes to Alabama and doesn't really play for 2 years, or something bad happens, knock on wood, which I don't think that would happen, then he's recruitable.
It's other people's trash because you got beat out. I'm just telling you, I would never take him because I had a principle about myself. If I couldn't get him from the jump, and you beat me out for that kid, I'll be damned if I go get him again. You're not coming back to me now when I told you that was what's gonna happen at that place.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
no, I get it.
They'll take SEC guys because they played in the SEC, but they can't play.
But my whole point is that you couldn't get him from jump, though. See, that's the issue I have. You got to go after him from jump and do a better job.
They don't. I don't get it. I don't understand. I understand people think Colorado's bust, but that's not what. Especially with linemen, we got fucking dudes everywhere. So again, it's on them. I hope they make the changes necessary. But again, that is some real hard looks in the mirror, and then accepting that, the media is going to call you when you make a change and you think it's for the better. The media is going to call you out and be like, well, why didn't you do it sooner? Because everybody's an expert. So I hope Coach Prime gets the opportunity to fix the problem, and I hope that they change things. And I'm going to continue to try and help them out as much as I can. But my job is not to just help CU. If they don't want to reciprocate, I'm sending my guys to the playoff teams. Alabama's going to playoffs, Texas A&M's going to playoffs, Ohio State's going to playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to wait around and be like, oh, CU, can you take my guys? Nah, Doc, we're going somewhere else. You don't have to play them.